Hey everyone, this is Valdis story. It's a sweet little Metroidvania you probably haven't heard about. There are 4 playable characters in it. We're playing Gilda. She's the fastest. She's a caster. She starts with a double jump. Nobody else starts with a double jump. And she can charge her mana infinitely, which we're doing here. We only charge briefly because if you hold it down, you lose momentum. So yeah, Gilda's just... her movement is just above the rest of the characters, mainly because of the double jump, and she has a few other things. She can gain infinite height using her other spells and charging mana in conjunction. But we'll pick up that life potion for safety for later on. And when we enter this room, we're going to try and get as high of a combo multiplier as we can before we kill this big guy. And whatever our multiplier is, our experience gets multiplied by that much. We had an X3 combo right there. It's pretty decent. And this applies to a lot of the enemies in the game, not to bosses, but if you can get a high multiplier as you kill them, it makes a huge difference in the run. Because you can get up to X10 multiplier for killing something, so compared to no multiplier, or just like ×1, that's obviously a huge difference. Right here we just picked up Axon. Axon is the first assist we'll get. And assists are members of your crew. The story here is that your crew crash landed in this underwater city, and we're looking for our crewmates. And there'll be assists usually that help us out once we find them. We just equipped a spear and armor that we just picked up, and we're going to be using these weapons for most of the game. And if you can see this dark glow around us, that means we have dark affinity, which essentially means we have dark magic equipped. So we'll get bonuses because we're dark. There's also neutral and light. And when we're dark, we get bonus move speed based on how much agility we have. So we'll be getting some agility, so we run fast. And we just picked up our first Master Scroll, and that gives us a skill cancel. Skill cancel is an invincible dash that you can use during pretty much anything, and you can use almost any attack out of it as well. So it makes the combat really fun and feel very fluid and like free form. We just hit level 3 right before this first boss. We're going to assign our points and see if we can get the strat on him. The strat being we interrupt his jump to the middle platform. He tries to jump at 75% life. So we're going to hit him to just above that, and then use our assist to trigger the phase switch, and then interrupt his jump. And we did it. And what that lets us do is full combo him, and without him ever triggering the phase switch, which he would have done 3 times normally, and it spawns ads each time, and just wastes a good amount of time. Nobody wants that. Having beaten the boss, we save this girl here, Adeline, on the ground, and she's going to lead us to her village. We talk a little bit. She's like, "It's down there." I'm like, "Alright, cool." We make sure we switch to dark magic right afterwards, so we get our move speed bonus. And if we're fast enough here, we can get a small cutscene skip in this room. And we got it. Adeline usually has to jump down here before this cutscene fully triggers, but we beat her there, so we save like 5 seconds. Now we're going to go talk to the Elder, and they're going to give us the ability to wall jump, as well as send us on our way to the next area with the story. The story being, we have this little tram part right here we have to pick up and bring to the next town to get the tram working between the towns. And this little guy next to us doesn't like us, like the Elder's son, because we're all demon looking. And it's okay that he doesn't like us, kind of makes sense. Like, I don't fault him for it, I don't hold it against him. But now in this next area, we are hoping for good RNG. We need 2 angel spirits in this area before we leave. And if we don't get them by a certain point, we just have to farm one of the angels till we do. And aside from efficient movement and stuff, we're going to be picking up a mana potion and just hoping for angel spirits. There's one. And they're about a 10% drop rate. So we'll get the mana potion in this room, kill as many angels as we can. If we don't get it, it happens. We got second spirit. That's very good RNG. We would have farmed that guy right there. It takes like 2 seconds to kill him over and over. And usually get the spirit within about a minute tops. Alright, we kill this guy. And we're gonna head up to Tagu. This boss is a big mechanical angel. We should be able to one cycle and kill him very quickly. We're gonna break his shield and get hit by his laser on purpose, so that our combo gets reset. Perfect. And that fight was perfect. So the way bosses work in regards to your combo, if you go 25 hits or higher, the boss starts taking half damage from you. And I'm not sure why exactly that is, but it's in the game, so we purposely get hit on certain bosses and use other methods to reset our combo so we can avoid that. And we're going to pick up this item over here. We picked up a spell lantern in the mausoleum. Now we're picking that up, and that will allow us to upgrade our magic later on. We're going to kill all these crabs along the way because we need polished stones from them to buy an item later. And now we're just going to this ice boss. Have our dark magic. So for the ice boss, we have to kill the bottom crystal, the top crystal, and then his face twice. So we'll do that as quick as we can. This is a pretty good fight. And once we kill him, we get ice magic. Imagine that. Ice magic is extremely powerful, and we will use it on a lot of the bosses in the run. We open this door, and the town is nearby. We assign our points. Now we have 10 agility. Each 5 agility we get bonus move speed. Right here's a small cutscene skip that I messed up. Now we're in the town. We have to bring the tram part up to the engineer. And the engineer is going to tell us something kind of important, that our friend, or she's going to say a man, was hurt, and he's at the doctor. Turns out we know this man. It's our friend Vladin, one of our crewmates. And he's hurt. He needs some legendary medicinal herb from a garden nearby, or something along those lines, called the Lordess tier. So we're gonna go get that for him, help him out, because he's a pro. And unfortunately for us, that area is infested by demons. So we're going to kill more crabs along the way, pick up these stones. And in this next room we have a specific strat, so we don't have to... These guys don't burrow underground. And we messed it up. Loses about 3 seconds. Alright. Now the garden is mostly just about efficient movement. We're going to be going for the skeleton key in here and killing a couple mobs along the way to try and get soft cloth for an item later on. Other than that, it's just clean movement up until the room before the boss. So in this room, you're going to try and get as high of a multiplier as you can for these two witches, because they're worth a lot of experience. Usually the enemies that you kill for rooms like this, where they're the enemies that are stopping, like there's doors that are locked. Unless you kill those enemies, they unlock. They're worth a lot of experience. That was not a good room that we did there, but it's okay. So here's Shugoth. And this boss is pretty obnoxious. If you hit him 12 times, he teleports. So what we're going to do is abuse a mechanic that's intended, which actually when you go into the weapon submenu, your combo will drop. And this is to prevent people from switching to other weapons mid-combo and getting a higher multiplier that they shouldn't get. Because each weapon has like different tags applied to it. But we actually abuse that by putting the boss into hit stun and then going to the menu. And what that does for us is prevent his combo counter from ticking. At 12 hits he would teleport. So as long as we go to 11 hits and then go to the menu, and if we did it right, he would never have left the first platform up there. You can basically combo this boss forever if you use the method. And now that we have the War Dust here, we're going to head back to town and we're going to farm these archers here until we get a soft cloth. Soft cloth is necessary for an item later on. One thing about Valdis' story is that the retry system is very forgiving. And if you fall down or something, it just gives you options. Well, I shouldn't say it gives you options, it just lets you instantly retry the room from where you entered it. So if you mess up, you can just immediately restart within like a second. And it makes speedrunning it and learning it like a blast. And just so much less difficult. And here I decide I don't want to farm more silk cloth off that guy because I can just get rough cloth and trade them in later on. What I need is 1 soft cloth, 2 rough cloth, and 5 stones. But you can trade 3 rough cloth for 1 soft, so I did not get very lucky in this run. unfortunately. So we bring the tier back, get the library key. So the doc's going to heal up our friend Vladden, and we're going to go to the library in the meantime. And at the library, we're going to find a very important friend of ours named Daborsk. And Daborsk has the ice magic upgrade that we need. And we collected the mats for it in the mausoleum earlier. So we'll upgrade our ice magic to level 2. Vladden tells us, like, this is a big library. He runs here from town once we get here. He's like, I'm going to read all the books. And he also, whenever we rescue a crew member now, they'll end up at the library. And they'll usually teach us something cool or sell us something that we want. And that's exactly what's going to happen right here with Daborsk. And once we upgrade Ice Magic, we're going to be using it on a lot of bosses. It's really powerful. Gilda's upgrade is significantly better than every other character's. Because, well, she's a mage, so they just made it better than everyone else's. And this is why we go agility early on, even though I'm a mage, because we run so far, like for so long, that having 10% move speed right now is a significant move speed increase. But now, since we've done that, we can go to the tram, it's repaired, and go back to the first village. And once we go here, we're going to go up. And go back basically to the start of the game. Because there's a door. First we're going to buy the soft cloth that we need. And we're going to have to do a skip. The skip can be a little finicky. Because our skeleton doesn't like to listen to us. What we're going to try and do is use this to jump into the ceiling. And we got a first try. Now here's the Dampe of our run. He has a 1 in 4 chance to give us the hat that we want. He's not exactly Dampe, but he can be a pain. You'd think 1 in 4... you wouldn't get like 30 tries of not getting the hat, but it's happened. So now we got what we want, the cowboy hat. And what the cowboy hat does is significantly reduce the cooldown of our skill cancel. So this means we can move very quickly now. We gotta be careful though, there's a chance when we get hit that it falls off. So we're gonna go for a small skip on the Yeti here. And this is a boss, so we got the skip. Now the boss is just standing there because we skipped his starting trigger, and we're just going to be able to poison him down now. We're going to spend our talent points and our skill points and stuff, and we're going to hit him about 200 times. So once our combo's at X10, it can't go any higher. And now that our focus has run out, we want, each time our combo goes higher, you see our focus builds in the top left. So once our combo hits X10, we want to reset it so our focus can build again, because it won't go any higher once it's X10. So we've hit about the number of hits we wanted, and now we need to trigger his cutscene. Otherwise, it messes a bunch of stuff up. But as you can see, his life is very low already. And that was a pretty quick fight. If you don't trigger his cutscene, what ends up happening is you try to leave the room, and the game just breaks. It doesn't let you do it. You hit the cutscene, and it soft locks. So we equip our spear again, and our other armor. The armor we had put on gave us affliction chance, so basically a better chance to poison him with each attack. And that's just better than the buff that this armor gives us normally. As you can see with a cowboy hat, we just kind of breeze through the rooms now. Our skill cancel is just like always up, and as long as our skeleton isn't hitting something, we're playing it pretty safe here because of that. If our little skeleton helper hits something, then our skill cancel won't cool down anymore. But now, without him there, it's actually very helpful for us. We are going to head across Skyway here and pick up an armor through this little puzzle that's coming up. This armor is pretty much the most important armor in the run and essential to killing a lot of the bosses. Cleric vestments. The lower mana you are, the more spell penetration it gives you, which is huge for Gilda. So this boss, we're going to use dark magic because she's an angel, and opposite elements in this game, you basically deal double damage if you're using the opposite element. And we're going to do as efficient a combo as we can, and as you can see, we're like bodying the boss right now. It does a huge amount of damage. And if you can kill the boss before it gets into that golden field, that field that mob spawns makes her invincible. You can actually kill him outside of the mob's range, but that was a good fight. We'll pick up the angel spirit, and then we'll continue on to the next fight, which is in the sewers. And until then, it's just movement stuff. So here's Distan. This guy is kind of a pain sometimes, but he should be okay. We are going to use the menu reset method like we did on the poison boss. We're going to equip the cleric vestments as we do it. He likes to teleport at 9 hits, but he also has a time to teleport. So I can only hit him so many times before he goes away. And he's dead. Now after the fight you can choose to spare him or kill him. We have to spare him, otherwise we can't fight all the bosses in the game later on. And now we're going to head to Ishk, which is the next town. We're going to talk to the elder there. The elder is going to be like, can you help me out? And we will. And then we're going to do the fire temple. The Fire Temple's pretty dangerous. There's not much to really say about it other than we're just moving through here as fast as we can. We're going to kill this guy to see if we can hit level 10 before the boss. If you can hit level 10, it's a pretty big damage boost before him, but it's not necessary at all. And coming up is the boss. But ice magic is... we upgraded our ice magic, and like I said before, opposite elements make it do significantly more damage. So we put on our Cleric vests, so we do a ton of damage on low mana, and then we backstab him as he jumps up, and we've already done half the boss's health. And he's dead. The ice magic upgrade trivializes a few of the bosses. This is one of them, and it feels great because normally this boss is a nightmare. Now we get fire magic. And fire magic is used to break all of 2 walls in the game. One of which being the one right in front of us right now. But now we hit level 10, which means we have another mid-air jump. So we have a triple jump now, basically. And we do a lot more damage because of it. It's actually a very large DPS boost. Since with each in the air, I could jump, cast a spell, double jump, cast another spell, and then I have to land before I can do it again. But with another jump, I can just cast another spell. Right here, we dispel that platform with our assist. We messed it up and accidentally used our other assist first. But you can only get rid of those blue platforms from below by having like a minion you have touch them from below. Normally you have to be above them. So we just got a second skill cancel at the end of the temple as well, which is pretty nice. Makes it a lot safer to just breeze through these places. And that was the other firewall that we destroy, was the one to enter this place. Now we don't use fire magic at all for the rest of the run. Now we are fighting the duo of Azador and Distan. We fought both these guys already, but they both came back for more. We spared him in the sewers, and the other guy escaped, but we destroy him with ice magic now. It's not even close. And now, this is the most dangerous part of the fight, mainly because you don't want to get hit and lose your cowboy hat. And there's a very high likelihood you get hit in this phase. If you're going to get hit in any of the phases, it's this one. Alright, that was a good phase 2. You just want to hit him 8 times so he teleports, and you go back and forth. So now we go ice magic, and we got to put on our other armor. And we'll be doing a good amount of damage to him. And our ice towers there actually block projectiles. When an enemy projectile hits them, they just get destroyed. And this boss sends shockwaves along the ground that the ice towers will block, as well as these rocks through the air that it'll block. So it's just really helpful to have in front of you. And there we go. It was a really good fight. This boss has a bugged audio afterwards. It's just really loud. I'm not quite sure. It's the only thing in the game like that. But it's just like randomly loud. And now we gotta make sure we put our dark armor back on and pick up this demon key. Now we escape from the mine, and this is one of my favorite platforming segments in the game. It's this room coming up here where you travel upwards. It just feels so good to execute correctly. clean. That was smooth. Now that we have the demon key, we can go back to the very beginning of the game, where there was a red door that we didn't get to see when we first went through, but it's in the first room, second room of the game. It's called Ziggurat. It's a late game area that has the best magic. It's void magic. And once we get void magic, we will bust the game wide open, but until then we're just running from Skyway over there, so there's not much to say about it. So this is one of the reasons we got the life potion earlier, is for a skip right here. And this skips a cutscene with Reyna and an assist that we do not want. That's below us right there. We can just ignore that. And now we're summoning a skeleton so that we can use it to dispel one of these platforms here. So we use our assist to get rid of the first one. And then our skeleton leashes to us and gets rid of the second one. And now we can just go straight up here. And that skips going around and through a couple rooms to travel up there normally. Now here, we gotta travel up through as quick as we can to beat that cycle. We do, and we pick up Dead Man's Fury. This is a really important armor to the speedrun. And the TLDR of what it does is adds fire damage to your attacks. And the way afflictions work in this game, it just ends up getting crazy with an assist that we get that we combine it with. So here we have the Void boss coming up. Normally your dark magic, he's immune to the debuff that dark magic applies, which is called corruption, and it increases the damage the enemy takes. But your dark skeleton, for some reason, can apply it to anything. Anything it hits, it gets applied to. So we summon it before this boss, and it makes him take a bunch more damage, and then we just use a whole lot of ice on him. We luckily don't lose our cowboy hat, and he's dead. Make sure we grab void magic, and once we grab void magic, we also need to grab the story item over here. So it's half of a key. We need 2 items, turn into this old man, and he gives it 2 a key. Wow, that wasn't even English. I'm just gonna move on from what I just said. So now that we have void magic, we can kind of skip into any hallway that we want. It's a really busted magic. This is definitely not intended. Gilda is just a little bit too tall. So now we just picked up a new assist, the panda assist, and it's the best one in the game. Very important to the speedrun. And we just use, well, we're going to try and use it as much as we can as we travel through here. We just skipped into the ceiling, and then we already left Ziggurat. We just traversed all of those rooms out of bounds. Now, the way assist experience work, we want to level up the assist as fast as we can. They gain experience based on what's in the room, not based on what you kill, what dies, or anything like that. So we just did a huge wrong warp back to town, and that's like one of the biggest warps that we end up doing. It takes us from the beginning of the game all the way to the bottom of the first city here, and then we just go to the sewers. Now in the sewers, we'll skip into the ceiling and just kind of skip this firewall. It's a really small time save. But now we're going to fight Lazo. And Lazo here is normally guarding the angel key, which we won't even pick up. We don't even care about the angel key. And with Void Magic, it buffs your weapon, so every time you crit with it, you hit the enemy with a dark damage Shadow Blade, which is really good against angels because they're weak against dark magic, which kind of just shredded him right there. Now that we hit level 15, we get a really important talent point called Blight Dragon. And Blight Dragon makes you immune to poison, which is nice, but it also distributes 20% of your int to all your other stats, which is super powerful. It just like rounds out Gilda really well stat-wise. And now we're going to go through the sewers and head to a kind of hard to get to ice area that we're not really supposed to get to yet, but we have Void Magic, so we're awesome. We're just going to go right up here, and we're going to go fight Abigail. And ideally we will one cycle Abigail. But we're going to equip our fire armor we talked about before that adds fire damage to attacks. And then we're going to equip our poison magic. So every hit we do will deal fire and poison. And we're going to use the chakram. This is a new weapon. Oh, we used it on Yeti actually. It hits a lot. So it'll apply poison and fire a lot. And each time fire is applied, it stacks up to 6 times, and it'll make our panda hit really hard. And based on the hit of the panda, it makes every subsequent fire hit deal that much more. So you can see a bunch of bigger numbers now popping up. 78s and 192s. The 192 is the ignite that we stacked up. And then poison is also applying on every hit, which deals a percentage of the enemy's life. And we use poison on a lot of bosses because of that. We're going to do a really similar strat to this boss coming up, using poison and fire, but we'll be using a different weapon to do it. But it's the same principle. We use Gilda deals damage based on whatever magic is equipped on every hit. We have the fire armor, and then we just hit the boss with it. So here we didn't stack all of our ignites fully yet before we use the panda. So normally it would be, she's taking 67 from poison and 48 from fire when it procs. It should be 66 from fire instead, but that's okay. We have our focus ready, but we're saving our focus for when she gets to about 1/3 life. She's going to do an attack that just fully shields her, and we're not going to be able to damage her. So we need something to stun her out of it. And that something is our focus attack right there. And now we will shoot the panda again. Now we got the 66 stack. That's really good. Now we're doing it maximum damage to her. We got our combo drop, and now the boss is dead. That was a pretty good boss fight. You normally have an item called Teachings of Lifeblade that makes you deal significantly more damage to endgame bosses. This is the final angel boss. This is the Eye of Alagath. Alagath being the leader of the angels. It's basically like the leader of the angels we just beat. And now we get out of here. Doing a little void warping. And just navigate through the ceiling here. Just go to the next screen. Easy peasy. And we're going to pick up the item I was just talking about. And we're going to be using that for some of the other late game bosses. And now we're going to go to... We've been here before, but we're going back here so we can do the wrong warp that we did earlier back to town. Because of the way some of the screens wrap in this game, this one really conveniently brings us like exactly where we need to go. Back to this room. And this room, when you jump off the left side, brings you down here to below the city. And now we're going to go to Ishq, and we're going to go to Engineer's Palace. And until then, it's just some movement. We didn't grab the angel key, so we just skip right in. Using void magic instead. And you're still summoning our panda as much as possible. Get it experience. And here we pretty much skip all of Engineer's Palace, like annoying puzzle parts with void magic. And we skip right over that mini boss as well. And now we have to fight Trejo. We're regenerating mana beforehand, and this boss is a real pain. One of the most RNG heavy bosses. Can teleport to some really obnoxious areas sometimes. Our main strat is to just try and apply fire with the spear if we can, and hit him with the panda, because the panda does a ton of damage. And we're going to reset because she hit our cowboy hat off. And we're going to try and hang on to the cowboy hat as long as we can. And the other source of damage we're doing are the on-crit void swords that we did to the other boss. Those do a ton of damage to Trejo because she's light. Electricity is light magic, obviously. Okay, and now for the last teleport up here, you have to go up and hit her with the magic through the floor, and then see where she teleports to. Follow her down here. She fell off. And kill the boss. Not too bad of a fight. We're level 20. We're already max level because we S-ranked every boss. And the way boss ratings work in this game is if you do really well, you get an S. If you get an A, you get half as much experience. If you get a B, you get half as much as you get for an A. So it's really brutal, but if you S-rank bosses, it's very rewarding. So now we have lightning magic, which lets us go through these lightning traps, but we can pretty much avoid them anyway, because we're cool. And we're gonna breeze through here. Leave Engineer's Palace. Grab the Divine Dust here. Now with these two items, we can go get the Divine Key whenever we want. And since we just beat Trejo, it unlocks an optional boss over here named Man O'War. And we like bosses, so we're gonna go fight it. And Man O'War is like a jellyfish that changes elements a bunch, but we're gonna do the poison fire stacking that we've been doing in a lot of the bosses. And we're gonna switch weapons mid-fight. And as you can see, the boss is getting chunked pretty significantly. And basically each hit reapplies the really high damage dot and does the initial damage of it. Man O'War down. Now we got some running to do. We went back through Engineer's Palace. We had to go kill Man O'War because he spawns after we do Trejo, which is kind of unfortunate. But now we can go fight, or go head to Leyladin. And Leyladin is hidden far back in this area. And one of the tougher bosses in the game. And before that is basically the hardest boss in the game. There's a mini boss right beforehand. And it's just extremely hard to keep your cowboy hat against this boss. This mini boss. It can spawn as either Wyatt, Reyna, or Vladin, who are the other three characters in the game. And as long as it's not Vladin, you're happy. Because Vladin is like a purple version of this guy who just shoots bullets at you the whole time. And there's nothing to do about it. At least the other two are melee. So this isn't too bad. And with this weapon you can kind of cheese them. I'm fine with that fight. I even kept my hat. We'll save there just to refill our health and mana. And skip all these rooms. Get poison fire on, we're ready. This boss is pretty tough. It's pretty much one full combo that you can't mess up. And here our panda fell off, so we reset. The boss just wasn't going to take enough damage. Alright, so we have a good setup here. We got the poison and the fire going. We use the combo menu actually to reset knockback stacking, because as the boss gets hit more and more, it gets hit back further from each hit. Once you get around 30 to 40 hits, it's really noticeable the boss starts sliding backwards. A lot more. So each time we reset it, it's just that much more we can combo the boss. And now we're out of skill cancels, we're on the other side of the boss, and this is basically why we need to deal a certain amount of damage beforehand. So this is a really good first phase. Now he becomes this kind of invincible ghost looking dude. So far, a pretty solid fight. We lost our cowboy hat. Oh well. At this point in the fight, I'm not going to retry for it. I thought he was going to do this attack, but he did the other one instead. That's why I got hit so much and lost the hat. And we killed him. It's a solid fight. And now we're just going to get out of here as fast as we can. Just void magic through all the rooms again. And yeah, it's just going to be another movement segment. This is Sir Pancakes. This is the best crew member in the game. He is a corgi that floats and talks and has a top hat. We make sure to rescue him, as that will probably be our donation incentive. Because we love Sir Pancakes. It's entirely optional to rescue him. And now we are going to go get the Divine Key. Divine Key is in this town. We've already been this way once, but we didn't have the items for it. And Elder Sezi has the key for us. And he talks a whole bunch. And after we get the key, we are going to go straight to the pit and fight Mergato. And Mergato is the leader of the demons. Until then, it's just some sweet movement. this is Mergato. We make sure we have lightning magic equipped, cleric vestments on, and our spear on. And that is our maximum damage we can basically have, and we need focus going into this fight, as well as our mana potion. So we're going to restart the fight to get all those conditions met. Restarting the fight gives our potion back. And we're going to try and drain our mana to about half before we start full comboing her with our focus bar. Or we can just go at it right away. No, this isn't going to work. It's really important that you don't mess up with your focus bar. You need the full thing to actually kill the boss. So the lower mana we are, the more damage we deal with our cleric vestments. That's why we want to be low mana. So now we can hit her up to 8 in the combo before she blocks. And then we need to get on the other side of her and combo her back across the room. It can be a little tricky. And essentially we're going to 8 hit her over and over again. And the hardest part of the fight is just dashing to the other side and immediately using your spell. And we got it there. So this fight is pretty much as good as done. And that last one was well played. And we get to ignore all the mechanics of the fight pretty much if we execute that correctly. And now we exit that room with just a little bit of focus remaining. That means when we retry, it'll refill our focus bar completely, because it treats us as if we didn't use it, which is pretty sweet. So for the next boss, we'll have a free focus bar. And with Mergato down, we're going to go back to the town and tram over to Hruk, which at that point there will be 4 bosses left for us to take down. It's another big movement segment. Okay, we're going to make sure we have Ice Magic on before the next room. And put on our Cleric Vests, and here's Raven. This boss, at this point in the game we are insanely powerful, so Ice Magic, we kind of get to just blast him, and he's dead. Nice 11-second fight. Make sure we put dark armor on so that we're dark attuned again and we're getting our move speed buff. Quite nice. Just kill that guy, unlock this door, and now we're going to head to the Tainted Laboratory. And this is Ragano. We get to ignore a lot of the puzzles in this area because Gilda. Because we have the Divine Key. It's not really because of Gilda, it's more, I guess, because Void Magic. What you're supposed to do is travel throughout the lab and disable these 3 generators that are creating poison everywhere. And when you do, for each one you destroy, it opens one of these doors in front of the boss. There's 3 doors here. But we don't care about that. We just skip right into the boss. This is another boss where ice magic is very powerful. He's like Distan, where he likes to go invisible and be a pain. Like that. So we kind of have to find him sometimes. He also does a lot of damage. And puts a bleed on you that ticks for a lot. You gotta be careful with him. As long as you keep him iced up, it's usually not a problem. And that was a great fight. Didn't even use our potion, we survived at like 4. And now we get to go to the end of the game. Put our dark armor back on. And this next part's up until the last boss. There's not too much going on aside from a sweet skip right through this guy's face. It's one of the cooler or funnier looking ones, I guess. I don't know. I like it. And what we need to do is have Wyatt up here get hit by this ice beam in a kind of specific way. Except he doesn't like to do it sometimes. There we go. And then we throw Void Magic and we jump right through his face. And that is the ice boss from before, but he's back. More ice face than ever. But we don't care. And now we fight Anemone. And Anemone is one of my least favorite bosses in the game. As what she's designed to do is just spawn ads. Go invincible, spawn ads every like 20% health that she loses. I'm not that fond of it. But through the power of poison and fire, we have found ways to persevere. But the boss is healing right now while invincible, because there are these crystals up there that heal it. But this boss likes to teleport around 30 hits, and it can be worth it to use the menu to reset, but oftentimes it's not. And once we destroy these crystals, the boss will stop healing in between phases and stuff. And once we kill all the ads, we can damage the boss again. Here, we reset our combo, just to ensure that that we get enough damage to phase switcher. we gotta find all these little void crabbies. Found them. Switch back to poison. Get our panda going. Alright. We're close to the final phase of the boss here. Get a combo reset. And now the boss is dead. Very nice. Not a bad fight at all. And now after this boss, we're going to talk to Valdis herself, who's pretty much God. Valdis is going to tell us that she actually created all of the ferals, who are these weird beasts like that one we just fought, and Mr. Iceface, and the Yeti and stuff like that. She created the ferals to fight against the angels and the demons, because the leader of the angels and the demons, who are sisters, betrayed Valdis, who is their mother. And now Valdis tells us that Reyna, who is the third child, the good one, we have to protect her so she can save the world, pretty much. And Gilda's like, alright, well, since you're dying anyway, I'm going to suck out your soul, and I'll help you with Reyna and stuff. And Reyna is not very happy about this, but what can you do? It's Gilda. She's like a dragon demon. And now we gotta climb to the top of this ASAP. Gilda, because she has 2 extra mid-air jumps that other characters don't have, gets to trivialize a lot of the more annoying platforming that would be done. Now this skip's pretty tough. Getting a second try is awesome. And now this is the final boss, True Anemone. And for this boss, essentially, you break its shield up top. It has a shield on its head. And you break through it after a certain amount of damage, and it goes into this phase where its head is exposed, and you knock these golden orbs into it. And normally you're not really supposed to be able to damage it, the head, with anything but the orbs. Or like thunder magic. There are a few exceptions, but Gilda has the ranged weapon that is really good for it. And we'll be using that. So we break the shield. Now we're down here. We switch to the DBZ. And now we can attack the boss the whole time that we're doing this, pretty much. And the poison does like as much damage as these golden orbs, if not more. So it's a very effective strategy. And once we get to X10 combo, we're going to want to try and reset it if we can. And we want to kill these crabs as soon as possible too, because they're a pain. But we're saving our focus bar. So now what the boss does is switch to the next phase, shields itself, and goes into this phase briefly. And we can do a phase skip if we do enough damage to its shield. And we're doing that with the thunder magic we're using. And we actually get a huge phase skip here. This saves like a significant amount of time. And now we get to just keep hitting the boss again because we did that. And there we go. True Anemone down. Good stuff. And now we get to watch One Punch Man. Boosh! Alright, that's Valdis all bosses. Hope you guys liked it. Hopefully it gets in the GDQ. Thank you.